This shit's be recorded live up in this piece.
Welcome to Ashtray Candy Podcast.
Second pod.
Number 2.
You and I both grew up in the 80s and the 90s primarily, where TV was a big staple in our lives. And,
I look forward to watching the shows at night and cartoons in the morning.
You don't see as much as that now. I mean, it's more like streaming and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
I
don't think people watch TV much at all. I only watch TV because I have an antenna. Regular antenna TV, so you just local channels. I can't record or delete or, fast forward or pause.
See, all I have is streaming, and unless it's YouTube where I can look up old episodes. But now some of those episodes, like we were talking about Night Court, I was telling you, Night Court on YouTube, you're only going to find like 2-3 minute videos of that. I don't know if it's because it's syndicated or what it is. I have no clue.
No, that's one of the shows that I think it's like a antenna TV or something that I have. They show repeats of Night Court all the time. I love it. They show like 6 episodes or so a day, maybe 8.
There were great characters on Night Court, man.
It was great.
Bull, I loved Bull. He was my favorite character in there.
There was all the characters stayed the same except for the lady bailiff. The very first one was the one with, remember the older one with glasses?
Yeah.
And she had like whitish,
And kind of a raspy
a little bit, but there was one that came after this one. That was the very first one, and the actress must have passed away. And then they got another one, and she was an older lady too, a little bit shorter, a little bit younger even, but she's the one that had the real raspy voice, like really like this.
Yeah, that's probably the one I'm thinking of.
She was there. She was on a couple seasons. Something must have happened to her too. She might have passed away. And that's when they brought in Roz.
Roz was cool. I remember her.
The bigger black woman.
Yeah.
She was cool. Take no nonsense.
Yeah,
that was probably that part when she came in. That whole era, I think it was at least 3 seasons or so. That was probably the best. They had some really good storylines, and it's just it was a great show, great characters.
Shame we lost old Harry Stone, man. He seemed awfully young, to pass away, but
I think he was only like 60-something.
He was a magician.
Yeah, magician. He would go on the road and tour, and that's how he got his start before he even started acting.
Yeah, and
that's why he would incorporate some of his, in Night Court, his character, Judge Harry T. Stone. He would incorporate a lot of his magic bits. That's because he was actually doing those magic tricks. He was funny.
That's cool. I think a lot of those people end up in sitcoms and stuff, start out in stand-up, it seems like.
Yeah.
But John Larroquette, was it John Larroquette? I always want to call him Dan Larroquette. His name was
John Larroquette, and the TV show was Dan Fielding. So
Dan Fielding. Yeah. I always want to call him Dan Larroquette, but it's John Larroquette, and he is actually, from what I understand, he's a book collector. He likes to collect books, and he also, little known fact, well, maybe a lot of people know about it, but he also did the intro for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre when they would tell the backstory of.
He did that music.
No, he did the actual, in 1973.
The voiceover.
A voice befell, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he did the voiceover for that, which I always thought was kind of cool. It's kind of like the whole William Shatner having the mask.
Mike Myers mask, yeah.
It's kind of weird. It's one of those type things. But you had a theory, didn't you, on Three's Company?
Jack Tripper.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a real theory, but it's something I thought of, and I'd mentioned it to you because, I remember that show growing up a lot. And I hadn't watched it in years, but now I've been watching this old TV station, and it shows a lot of reruns, so I've been watching more and more, so it's more in my present thought, Three's Company, and of course Jack Tripper was real hound dog, always womanizing and always about the women.
Oh, yeah.
Him and his buddy Larry.
Larry. Leisure Suit Larry.
I do think Leisure Suit Larry was based off of that character.
It looks like him. Looks a lot like him.
Because growing up playing that game, that's kind of who I thought of. I was like, they must have got the idea and based this kind of wannabe womanizer on Larry because from Three's Company.
They had the same hair and everything.
Yeah, and it was kind of the thought that they were a real good womanizer, but really weren't,
Right.
But with the Jack Tripper thing, of course, that show ran for, 6 seasons, 7 seasons probably. Because always after the women and do it. But I said they started showing reruns of the last season. And I was able to watch the last, I think, 4 or 5 episodes in a row, the very last ones. And I just thought of this theory because the last few episodes, he meets the stewardess on an airplane, and they hit it off and start talking, and they end up falling in love, and it seems like it's going to be the one. Finally, he's going to settle down. And they do end up getting married, and they move in together, and they're getting ready to consummate the marriage. They're getting ready to do it.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was funny because Jack gets so nervous about it, and she's ready. They're sitting in bed, and he's got his pajamas on, and she's trying to get him to be romantic, and he just starts being goofy and all nervous. Like he's never done it before. And I remember he kept making excuses, like he was trying to get I remember he said there was a part where he wanted to get his pillow more comfortable, and he was rolling his head on it, and it didn't. So he turned around and just started punching it like it was a person, like pat, 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 pat. It just was cracking me up. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I got it all comfortable," but he kept stalling to the point so much that I kept feeling like he's acting like he's a virgin, and like he's so nervous, and never done it before. I just thought that was funny, and then I just thought of an idea. What if, after all this time, the womanizing legend Jack Tripper was actually a virgin? And when it comes to to do the deed, maybe he was too nervous.
We would have to ask the show writer.
But then I started thinking, oh no, Jack Tripper, he
always had the women on.
Always had women. Like every episode, it was always a different girl. He would be sneaking girls in, remember, and trying to hide them from Mr. Roper, and of course Mr. Furley, but he was just oblivious.
I loved Mr. Furley, man.
He was the best. I did like the Ropers. I did. They were funny.
They were
They're
cool.
Dynamic, but
there's something about old Don Knotts.
Yeah, Mr. Furley was the best. His little facial expressions with the wide eye and shaking his head like.
Well, and the clothes he wore, he always wore
that nice ascot scarf thing.
Don Knotts was a legend, man. He really was. But the thing with Don Knotts, I thought he had died like years before he'd actually died.
He just stopped doing acting. But he'd been around for a while, yeah.
And I was happy to find out that he didn't die, and then all of a sudden he actually did die. So, yeah, old Don Knotts, Jack Tripper being a virgin, maybe. What was Jack Tripper's? Jesus, I can't even remember. What was Jack Tripper's actual freaking name?
Jack Tripper. Oh, his real name?
Yeah.
John Ritter.
John Ritter. That's it. Mm-hmm. Yep. Great comedic legend, man. Oh, John. Yeah, he was a good guy.
I love John Ritter. Yeah, he was, and that character, man, was classic. So funny. He was a real physical comedian.
Even the theme song, "Come and knock on my door."
Yeah, we were waiting for.
Did they say "do" or "door"?
Because it knock on a door. Yeah.
Didn't it always sound like "Come and knock on my door"?
Well, they said it so, kind of knock on my door.
Good show. Good show. A lot of them I didn't really watch. I'm sure a lot of people like MASH supposedly was classic, but I liked the theme.
MASH was cool. The theme was all right. I liked it, but sometimes
I just never got into it.
I think around the time it was going off the air at our age, I got kind of bored with it.
Yeah.
I liked it a little bit better, I think, when I got a little bit older. My teenage years, I respected it a little bit more. But growing up, when you're 7, 8 years old or whatever, didn't really. I'd rather watch Alf or something. Well, Alf didn't come on until I was like 10.
Oh, Alf was awesome.
10 or 11.
Alf
was great.
That was a truly iconic character for that time period, man.
From the planet Melmac. He ate cats. I always thought that was funny. He'd always be trying to stick one in the oven or something.
He was always after the cats.
I don't watch modern day sitcoms anymore. I don't even know if they have theme music. I have no idea.
Well, what are some? We got the Big Bang Theory.
I don't watch that. I've watched maybe 4 or 5 episodes throughout the entire time it's been on. That's just because it's been reruns. I've never followed it. Never got into it. I care about it. They just all annoy me. And it's funny because I like comic books. All the stuff that they're into, I like in real life. Like I like comic books and sci-fi movies and shit that they're into. And I remember people when I had the comic shop, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm sure you love Big Bang Theory, right?"
Just assumed that he did.
No, I don't. Not at all. I can't stand it.
I mean, it was all right.
Any of other sitcom, I have no idea.
I couldn't really tell you. I mean, the Connors, but that's about to go off the air.
I've never watched it.
There's so much drama surrounding that stuff, but
I'd watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I don't know if that's considered a sitcom, but that's probably the best show I've seen since Seinfeld. So
Rum Ham, yep.
That's classic.
You gotta love it. So some people I met though don't really like it. I don't see how because I think it's hilarious.
That's great.
when he was like egg. Like I love Danny DeVito's character. Like, where'd you come from?
And they were promoting their fight milk. Do you remember what that was? It was Charlie and Mac, and they were promoting this milk made from a crow, and they were like, it would make you fight. And all it was like, it was actual milk and like vodka and like some kind of creatine or something, and just mixed in. They're like, this is fight milk. Drink it and get buff.
You remember when they were collecting people's trash?
Yeah, because the garbage men were on strike. So, yeah.
One of my favorite episodes was The Man Who Shushes.
Yeah, the shushing.
They put up the pictures.
Well, nobody
around
likes
town.
to get shushed. I totally got what they were talking about when they were out to eat at a restaurant or something, and some other guy from another table is shushing them. It's
Yeah.
like, oh no, you don't.
Did you hear that? You don't
Do that. Yeah, and then they put a wanted poster pretty much looking for man who shushes. And they had like a caricature drawing of him. But then they put the number, his own number, on there, looking for. So when they actually called the number, Dennis, all they would do was shush him when he would answer the phone. They'd be like, hello, and they'd be like, shh. You're like, wait a minute, that's not what I meant by. I'm looking for the man who shushes. I don't want a man calling me and shushing me. Yeah, it was funny.
Well, and even Charlie talking about like cottage cheese. What is this cheese that's made from a cottage?
Sitcoms. I don't know of any modern day. All mine are 70s and 80s.
Mine too.
Of course, some of the 90s too.
We got Sanford and Son, of course. That was a classic.
Oh man, that's the best. And that was probably one of my all-time favorite theme songs.
Oh,
I remember used to when. Now this is back when cell phones was just actually the flip phones. No internet or anything like that. But
right.
occasionally you could get figure out a way to download like an MP3 or whatever they would call it, or I can't remember, zip file or something, and it was like your ringtone. Sometimes you could find certain musics,
Right, I remember
songs and stuff. The very first one that I ever had, I think the only one that I ever had on my first cell phone was the Sanford and Son thing. So every time it would call, I'd be like,
yeah. I noticed a lot of these sitcoms, they had a running theme. There was always one guy in the sitcom that would play like the voice of reason. And in the Sanford and Son series, that was Lamont.
Was it Lamont?
But if you look at Lamont, in real life, he was probably not the voice of reason around that time.
He was a huge coke addict, from what I remember.
Was he really though?
I don't know. I haven't researched it recently, but I remember reading stories that he was doing coke all the time on set.
If you're listening to this, go back and watch any episode really of Sanford and Son and check out Lamont's eyes. Those suckers are glazed over
all the time, and he liked it. And he was doing cocaine so much, he started getting real confident in himself.
Yeah,
and so his character. Notice in the later seasons when he was on coke all the time, he would always unbutton his shirt a lot. So
it's true.
And it's like, man, button that shirt up. You don't need to be doing that. You're the voice of reason, Lamont.
He'd always be like, yeah. He'd always be
thought he was all cool and popping his collar and having his shirt all unbuttoned, showing his chest. It's like, no. We don't need to see that, Lamont.
Yeah, he'd always be like, Pop, what do you think you're doing? We can't do that. We got to take that back or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, come on, Lamont.
It's like, Lamont, you just, you in the dressing room doing coke and learning your lines on the spot. But it was a good show. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I loved it.
It was funny.
Sanford and Son. And, there's some that really don't get a lot of recognition that I remember. Like Mr. Belvedere. I don't remember that show.
Mr. Belvedere.
I mean, I remember it, but...
another classic thing.
I remember that's the thing I remember about it.
Your jacket, as you come through the door.
No one cares.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Like, that's the main thing I think about when I think of Mr. Belvedere is the theme song. But was he like a gay butler? Like,
I don't think he was gay. I think he was just British, wasn't he?
Just real. Was he British?
Yeah.
Damn, I need to watch that again. I don't know.
Mr. Belvedere, I will serve you, sir, some good old scrumpets, tea, or whatever he did. Scone.
Yeah.
What made that show for me, though, was Bob Uecker. He was the man on that show. I love Bob Uecker.
You'd mentioned Head of the Class earlier, right?
Oh, yeah. They've been showing... caught some repeats, a couple weeks ago on that station I was watching, and man, I hadn't seen that show since probably the early 90s, when it was on. I was like, dang, it brought back memories watching all those kids in class. Like, the nerdy one with the big nose and glasses. You got the heavyset one.
I just remember the fat
There
one.
was the preppy dude. There was the a lot of them were stereotypes. You had the stereotypical
Yeah, the
Italian
cool leather
guy.
jacket guy, right?
Yeah, the Italian guy. Talking like, hey, yo, I'm Rocky. And you had the Hispanic guy and the
I don't remember him.
black guy, Aristotle. I remember that name, Aristotle, because I thought that name was cool.
I just know the fat guy is a director at Nickelodeon, and if you've looked into that story, then you probably already know that,
His name was Dan Schneider.
Dan Schneider.
He was the heavyset guy and had the class. He was one of the kids.
Yeah, that's, I think, how he got his start somehow. He was the
So when he got older after that show, he got into directing for the Disney Channel.
Well, no, not Disney.
Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon, and he I think he's...
Like iCarly and stuff, you said.
Stuff like that, and he's been known to take some feet pictures of some of the actresses, and a lot of people claim that he's and I'm not claiming this, I don't know, but it is kind of weird that he's kind of got a thing for young children's feet. I think that is a weird thing to post to your Facebook and be like, look at these pretty pink little toes. That's a bit weird for a grown man to be doing that, but I don't know.
I wouldn't be taking pictures of anybody's feet, like I said earlier, let alone a kid's feet. Adolescent, no.
It doesn't seem right to me.
Why would you do that and then post it like it's okay? Like, look, I just took pictures of this 12-year-old girl's little feet.
No, and he's also been
red flag.
He's also been on camera, kind of being all flirty towards the actresses. It's like, bro, you're like 50, 40, and you're almost 50 or something, and you're messing with. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's gross.
But,
get him out of here. Hopefully he didn't do anything, but still, that's just weird and gross to take pictures of anybody's feet or any kid's feet.
Well, yeah, that's not right. The kids, you don't do that stuff. But anyway, getting off that topic, man. Do you remember some of the? Speaking of Nickelodeon, I know you remember this, David the Gnome. Now we're going back into children's stuff.
That was on PBS before it was on Nickelodeon, wasn't it? Because I never had cable until I got older, and I had already watched that show.
I don't remember it on PBS. I remember it just on Nickelodeon. Maybe I never saw it. I only remember it being on Nickelodeon. David the freaking gnome, and he'd ride that fox. I definitely remember
that, yeah. He was who I thought all these garden gnomes were based off of, but garden gnomes were around way before David the Gnome.
Yeah.
But they looked exactly the same with the red hat and the blue shirt. And
you know who did the voice of David the Gnome, right?
No.
What's his name? Tom Bosley? He was the dad in Happy Days. That's going back to like the 50s or 60s or something.
I remember him, yeah. Bosley.
He was the father on Happy Days.
Pop's on Happy Days. Yeah, I remember Tom Bosley.
That was a good show too, man. Happy Days.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked Fonz. Who didn't? I mean, he was the freaking coolest, man.
Yeah, but hey,
oh.
Snap his fingers and the pinball machine would start working and stuff.
He'd knock he'd punch the...
Who doesn't remember that A-Team?
The music would come on. A-Team was the best.
B.A. Baracus.
You know what? And I never knew what B.A. stood for, but I always thought it stood for badass.
I think it probably did.
But I don't think people realize that when they're younger. So when I got older, I remember when I wanted to say badass, and if there's somebody I didn't want to cuss in front of, like my sisters or something, or somebody younger, I would always say, oh man, that's B.A.
Badass.
People would be like, what B.A.? And I'd be like, the A-Team.
B.A. Baracus.
That's what I thought it stood for, B.A.
I always liked old B.A. But one of my favorite characters was Murdoch.
Murdoch was, look, okay, here we go. We remember all the characters. We had Murdoch. We had B.A. Baracus. You had, Mad Dog.
Face.
Mad Dog was Murdoch. Yeah, you got Mad Dog, who was Murdoch. B.A. Baracus. Then you got Face. And Hannibal, who was the leader.
Yep.
The old guy with the stogie. Dang it, George Papard.
Yep.
Yeah,
do you remember? I don't remember the Face guy. What his name was?
Oh man, like in the show?
Yeah, he was never one of my favorite characters out of all of them, but he was pretty funny. He was pretty cool.
I always liked the wild card type character, like Mad Dog. That's who.
Yeah, he was.
Face. I liked Face because he was part of the team and they had a good dynamic. But in shows like that had that type of dynamic, that had 3-4 people, I never really got into the guy with the looks.
Right.
Because I was like, oh, come on.
Well, Murdoch was the pilot, right? He would fly.
Yeah, he could fly.
I actually heard, and this is so not true, but I remember growing up, I heard that they actually found the actual character that played Murdoch in a mental ward. No. And I've also heard the same thing about Jonathan Winters. I've
heard that about Jonathan Winters.
They actually found these guys in mental institutes, and I don't think it's true.
I don't think they found Jonathan Winters, but I think I had read multiple stories about him spending time in mental ward for mental health reasons, like
That
schizophrenia.
might be, but he's never. It's not like they went to the middle.
I don't think that's where they
looked
found
for
him.
people.
Yeah, and handing out their cards like, oh, I'm an agent. I'm going to
Right.
find some crazy
Well,
people
you
here.
look funny. You
Call
can-
me.
Yeah.
Okay, Face from the A-Team, his fictional character's name was Templeton Peck.
See, I didn't know
That's
that.
right. Lieutenant Templeton Peck. Played by Dirk Benedict. I remember him being on Battlestar Galactica.
I never saw that either.
The old
My
one, yeah.
stomach's growling.
Oh, that's all right.
Somebody's stomach just
Yeah,
growled.
what? You better listen like me.
That's right. As a throwback to the last episode, if you've watched that. If not, go check it out. Let us know how you like it or you don't like it in the comments. What should we be doing topic-wise?
Yeah.
What do you want to listen to, you know?
Anything.
'Cause
But-
we're so random here. That's just the
Indeed.
way we do it, though. You know, it's the way we've always done it. So
I gotta say one thing about A-Team that I remember that I liked. It was a running kind of a gag, I guess, where B.A. And it's funny that he didn't like to fly because they're mercenaries. You know what I mean? You would think he would have plenty of flying experience. All of them would. I mean, they know how to use weapons, but he never liked to fly. And he was like, B.A.'s not going to fly anywhere. I don't like that jibber jabber. Nobody says it to me, you know. But they would have to think of creative ways to get him on a plane sometimes when they would have to go cross country or something.
Right.
But I remember one time, it was Mad Dog. He was giving him a banana to eat, and he had put like some sleeping powder in there, all of sprinkled sleeping powder somehow all over the banana. And he was like, "Here, B.A., we got to keep your potassium up. Got to eat this banana." He was like, "Give me that." He was like, "Yeah, I'll take it." And he ate it, and then, you know what I mean, he passes out, dead asleep. And so, yeah, they all have to carry him together because he's heavy and get him on that plane. And I think he wakes up like mid-flight. He's like, "Oh, who did this? I'll kill him."
was
And
that A-Team was kind of where Mr. T came from, right? Because I remember he had a
That's-
cereal. He was involved with wrestling.
Well, that's when he got popular, because of the show. Yeah, it took off.
Wasn't he was also? Yeah, of course he was.
He was
in
in
Rocky.
WrestleMania 1.
He was in
right?
Rocky. Was it 3? When was that? Was it the second one?
Yeah, he was Clever T. Lang in the third one.
In the third one, okay. The third one also had Thunder Lips, right?
Yeah,
Hulk
Hulk
Hogan.
Hogan. Yep.
We're going into all kinds of jumping around here, but hey, yeah, I mean,
Clever
Mr.
T. Lang, Mr. T. He got popular from the A-Team because he had that. He's a real distinct look. He had that cool, crazy-looking mohawk, man. He'd
Yeah.
be decked
all
out
them
in these
gold chains,
gold
and stuff.
chains and feather earring type things. I mean, he just had and he would talk like, I mean, he was and he was huge. He was a big dude. Yeah, he was, and then he took off. You're right, because he got into wrestling. Was it WrestleMania 1? It was WrestleMania 1, wasn't it? Or is it 2?
It might have been 2. Well, I don't know.
'Cause I remember it
he boxed Roddy Piper, didn't he? His first debut in wrestling.
But wasn't there a tag team? Wasn't it Hogan and it was Hogan and Mr. T versus
Well, the first
Paul,
WrestleMania,
Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff, and Roddy Piper, right?
I can't remember. I want to say it was the second one because I know Hulk Hogan was. Now we're getting into wrestling, but Hulk Hogan body slammed somewhat Andre the Giant
That was
in
in
the
3.
first.
That was in 3.
It was in the first one, wasn't it?
No.
Well, what the hell was the first one?
WrestleMania 3.
Liberace was there and shit. I remember.
That's what I'm
that.
saying. I think it was Hogan and Mr. T versus Piper and Paul Orndorff. WrestleMania 3 was the classic Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant.
Was it really?
Yeah, that
I always thought it was
WrestleMania
number
3.
1, man. Damn.
Oh, no. And number 2, I'm pretty sure that was Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy in a steel cage. That was the main event.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm going to...
I remember from
Yeah.
everything I heard, Roddy Piper.
WrestleMania 1, it was Mr. T and Hulk Hogan versus Roddy
Right,
Piper and
Mr.
Paul Orndorff.
Wow.
Yeah. But that came after he got popular with the A-Team, and then he had the cereal, and I remember eating Mr. T cereal.
Oh, man. If you people didn't get a chance, you
I'm
missed
picking
out.
food, don't eat my cereal.
It was good cereal. And
Wasn't
you
bad.
know, the funny thing is, all that cereal,
All cereal back then was good.
it all tasted the same.
It did.
Though. Like, if you look at Captain Crunch, that was basically Mr. T. And they had it was just shaped different.
Well, that, and I remember thinking, too, like Fruit Loops or, say, Trix or whatever, you would think that each little color was a different flavor.
It's all the
It
same.
all tasted the exact same. None of it was different. It just looked different. It
They
just had
put
different color.
coloring. Yeah.
It was like you remember Nintendo cereal, right? It had Mario cereal and
love that
Zelda.
stuff,
There's
yeah.
2 little packages.
That was genius. They'd never done that before with cereal, I don't
That's
think.
why I thought it was cool, because it was one box, but it had 2 different packages in it. On the left side and the right side. One was Super Mario Brothers cereal, and on the right it was Zelda cereal. And I remember, I'm going to eat a little bit of Mario today,
Yeah.
and then maybe some Zelda tomorrow, and then every once in a while I get a little crazy. I'm like, I want to mix them both up today. I'm going to have a little bit of Zelda and Mario at the same time.
Yeah,
You
living
look back and
dangerously.
eat it. Yeah, I was living dangerously, but it was the same cereal. It tasted the exact same. It just looked a little different shapes.
I mean, now you go to the store and it's hey, damn, man, the cereal isn't even creative anymore. Like the toys used to be awesome. Remember, you'd get the toys.
I don't even think they put toys in cereal now because they're afraid kids will eat it.
Well, if they do, now you have to sit. Now it's if there's usually
You
no
gotta buy
toys.
proof of purchase.
UPCs. You got to
10.
send in like 3 or 4 freaking UPCs, and it's like it's really not worth it. But unless it's a really
you would actually get actual prizes like little action figures sometimes, little plastic
action figures,
people
Matchbox cars. There was
Shrinky
something
dinks.
called the Diving Tony. I remember Frosted Flakes had something. All it was a freaking. I don't know why. It's a kind of an inside joke with my family, but it looked like a Tony the Tiger, and all it did is you throw it in this 2-liter, and he would dive down and then come up. It's like all those was like a lead weight type thing,
But it was something cool. And yeah, they had Shrinky Dinks. We talked about that before. We could put those
kids
things
today
in the oven.
probably don't even know what
They'll never
Shrinky
work.
Dinks.
I don't think they even make them anymore.
Color forms. I used to have a lot of color forms, but I would not play with them like most kids were. Color forms were like basically pieces of plastic of different characters, and you had like a background. And what you were supposed to do is just basically stick them there in different scenes or whatever. But I would actually take these color forms and move them like action figures and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's what I would do. I didn't want to just stick them on the scenery on the paper and leave them there. I was like, I wanted to play with them.
I would move them around and stuff, and
Yeah.
I used to play for hours with that stuff, man. Color forms. I still have some color forms actually, but anyway.
Cookie Crisp, you remember that?
That's still around.
Oh, okay, good.
I believe that's
used to
still
like
around,
that.
but they've changed up. It used to be like a cop and a dog or something, or a robber.
It was a cop and robber.
Now I
And there
think
was
it's a
dog.
wolf or some shit. I don't even know what the hell it is.
Yeah, I remember on the box, it was a robber always trying to steal the Cookie Crisp. And then there was a cop, the old-fashioned cop with the baton. You know,
They don't use those characters anymore.
No, because sometimes they would in the commercials they would show the little cartoons of the cop beating on
that
the
ass.
robber. Yeah,
Like, you ain't getting no Cookie Crisp
he'd
today.
be like, get your hands off my cookie. And the dog would be attacking him, and he'd be like, oh! He'd be hitting him with the baton. We're talking about the 80s. They would never show that commercial now.
No,
but I used to love that
There'd be so much
cereal
backlash.
because I would mix that and Cocoa Puffs together. And I felt like if I mixed Cookie Crisp and Cocoa Puffs, it was like the ultimate, like kind of chocolatey cereal. Man, that was good. I used to love Sugar Smacks and Honeycomb. And
That stuff's still around.
I just don't get it
But some of
anymore.
it's lost. Like I remember they had a Gremlins cereal when the Gremlins were big. It was the same as Mr.T. And all that stuff was the same as Captain Crunch. It just looked different. I remember a cereal called OJ's, and no one ever remembers this freaking cereal.
OJ's.
If someone has ever eaten this cereal, remembered it, please let us know. Let me know, because like they don't make it anymore. But I think it was like a generic form of Kix, but it was. I remember them being like an orange colored, and it was kind of like an orange flavor.
and it had a cowboy on the front.
Yeah, and it was called OJ's. Yeah. Oh, damn! There it is.
You just Googled the image of it.
It probably
and saw
tasted like ass or something.
I do
but
remember
at the time,
that,
I
and
remember
seeing that
I
with-
thought,
yeah.
man, this is good cereal. I don't know why.
It was
Some
like
of
an
that
orange
shit-
flavor. I do remember that. It was like Kix, but it had a little bit more flavor because Kix
like
was
an
a
orange
little bit
flavor.
more bland.
There was a Donkey Kong cereal. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I
Donkey
remember
Kong
Donkey
Jr.
Kong,
cereal. It had a lime green box. Yeah.
Waffalo's. You remember those?
I don't remember those.
Those were pretty good. Man, cereal. Shoot, that's a whole. We could do an entire podcast.
That's what we're doing right now.
Old
just doing the
80s,
cereals.
old 80s cereal.
Oh, well, it
I'm
was
good
just
with
so
that.
creative. Like it seemed like they put more time into their products back then because they didn't have the money that they have now. Like you look at McDonald's, they don't use those freaking characters
Well,
anymore.
it seemed a little bit more creative. It seemed more fun.
But I remember back in the day, you could go to Pizza Hut and they would sell these Care Bear glasses for like, I don't know,
Oh, yeah.
65 cents or something, dollars. It wasn't even $1. It was like, I think it was 65 cents, 75 cents. And it was a real like,
Glass.
sturdy
Yeah,
glass
I remember.
with
do
a
you
character
remember,
on it.
A lot of the pizza places would do collectible glasses like that because they didn't have the drive-through ability like toy stuff like McDonald's would do or Burger King or Hardee's even.
Right.
So I remember getting Star Wars glasses. Like we're talking like
Oh, man.
Empire Strikes Back,
Those probably were
Return
some
of the
money,
Jedi. I don't know what I did with them, but I remember getting some.
I never
With
had any Star Wars.
Yoda, Luke Skywalker was on one, Han Solo.
I had Smurfs. I had a Smurf one, and I had Care Bears, I think.
They had Batman glasses, I remember. Mugs. They would give out mugs. I had to think it was Nova Romans, maybe. You remember the Monster? Because Nova Romans, not a lot of people know that anymore because it used to be like one of the top 3 chains.
Now it's pretty much non-existent.
I don't think, I think there's maybe 2 here somewhere.
But I remember,
there used to be a lot.
I do remember the Monster, though. I do.
Yeah, he was I thought he was cool.
He's kind of scary looking.
But he was big.
Yeah.
He had the big old mouth and dangly nose and all this fur, whatever that was.
Or did he just make noises?
He'd just be like, pizza, pizza. Not pizza, pizza. That's
what I thought he said.
He'd be like, pizza, pizza, or I'll eat you. Bah.
Wow.
Yeah, he was a monster. But he was cool. And then they had the monster pizza.
You know, I remember one time, and I don't know if you ever got this, at Hardee's, when the Gremlins came out, they actually were giving away, like, booklets with a record.
With the record, yeah. I remember, it was like
I
a
thought
little...
that was great.
Oh, they were smaller than a 7-inch, wasn't it? I mean, those things suckers were like a 5-inch record, I think. I remember getting them
Probably was about a 5-inch record, man.
Because I remember playing them. Me and my sisters would listen to those. We'd get them. And
you could
we'd
read along.
Go in our rooms and listen. Yeah. It would be... now, sometimes they would do this on tapes. And I don't know if they did this on the Gremlins records, but it was like, when you hear this sound, it would play a, sprinkly or twinkly sound. Yeah. That means to turn the page.
Right.
So it would help you read along with what they were saying. I remember that. So it would always be some kind of sound effect, and it was different for each booklet,
And they also I remember Wendy's you remember the shirt tails? That's going way back. Cartoons, the shirt tails. It was animals that had different
I just looked those up a few months back because I remember going through, I think it was Hardee's, wasn't it? Where you could collect them. It was a little...
I think it was Wendy's, and they had like...
Okay, it could have been Wendy's.
The monkey, I remember he had a green
monkey,
shirt.
Tiger.
The mole had like a
lion.
Light blue shirt. I think it was
monkey
Wendy's. It might have been Hardee's. I'm not sure. I know Hardee's.
You got to think, man. We were probably like 6 years old when that came out. Yeah, 6 or 7. I just do remember getting those, and I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the first plush prizes that I got. Usually it was something small and tiny, like a California raisin or something. Those were cool too. That was Hardee's.
That was Hardee's.
It was a California raisin.
I think the shirt tails was Wendy's. I'm pretty sure, man. It's just crazy how much things change. I mean, you look at the toys and Happy Meals and stuff now, and it's just kind of like a bunch of junk that you'd probably rather not have.
Man. Those Gremlin records, though, just thinking about that, yeah.
Yeah, that was I can't believe they gave those away.
There was five records. I think I had 2 or 3, at least 3, maybe 4. I had almost all of them. Maybe I had all 5 between me and my sisters. But I'm looking at some of the photos now, and I remember getting those and listening to them on our little record player that we had. Because we had a small record player. It's almost like a toy record player, but it worked.
That's what I had. That's what I used.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I used to listen to them on that.
It's like a little toy record player, not like a real big one. But it worked, and I remember reading those Gremlins, man.
Well,
we've come to the end of another podcast of Ashtray Candy.
I guess that about wraps it up, huh?
Yeah.